Intellectually Promiscuous Press presents Born of Air, an Elemental Origins novel, Book 5 in the Elemental Origins series, by A.L. Knorr. Read for you by Gabra Zackman. Prologue. City of Saltford, New Year's Eve, 1997. The night was cold and sharp, and the stars winked down from a black velvet sky, almost snapping with clarity. The main custodian of St. Joseph's Hospital for nearly 20 years had just reached into the pocket of his parka for the keys to his truck when the sound of footsteps pounding behind him made him turn. "Amin! Wait!" A red-faced nurse, out of breath and with a hand over her heart, reached him and put a hand on his shoulder. "Steady on, Irene," said Amin, grasping her by the elbow, his bushy salt-and-pepper brows drawing together with concern. Irene was not a young woman anymore, and her girth had increased over the 12 years she and Amin had worked together. She wouldn't be moving this fast without good reason. "Everything okay?" Irene and Amin were two of only a handful of staff members at the hospital who called each other by their first names, and paid no heed to the hierarchy that segregated most of the staff. It was the reason Irene had been sent to fetch Amin, and not some other nurse. Irene shook her head, panting, her brow creased with worry. "I'm sorry. I know you're on your way home and it's New Year's Eve, but we have a situation we could use your help with." "Of course." Amin waited while the nurse took a few more breaths to calm herself. "We've got a young woman in the ER who is in labor. She doesn't speak any English. We think her language might be Arabic, but it's difficult to tell. You speak Arabic, right?" Amin frowned. "My parents did, but I've forgotten most of it." "That's more than anyone else here can say. Would you please come and see if you can translate?" Amin nodded, and the two ran back to the hospital's rear entrance, while Irene filled Amin in on some of the details. A young couple heard sounds of distress coming from their back alley. They discovered her hiding in some brush there. "Hiding?" Amin echoed, his brow furrowing. "That's what they said," Irene huffed as they reached the door. Amin opened the doors and let her pass first. "They said it was all they could do to get her into their van. The only reason they got her here is because her water broke and she couldn't resist them any longer." "Is she in her right mind?" Amin's heart had begun to pound, but not from the jog across the parking lot. They donned paper booties and made their way down the hall toward the ER. Irene lowered her voice. "She's jumpier than a cat in a room full of rocking chairs, but her anxiety is only part of it."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?